a dream. I've got a dream. She's got a dream. I just want to see the floating lanterns gleam. And with every passing hour, I'm so glad I left my tower. Like all you lovely folks, I've got a dream. She's got a dream.
Alright, hey everybody. I know I said I wasn't going to make a video today, but then I remembered that when my sister and I were watching Doctor Who, I said I was going to make a video called How to Make a Fez in 15 Million Easy Steps. So I figured while I was working on my fez, I might as well make a video. Now, it's kind of a trial and error type thing. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. So, we'll hope it works. What we're going to need, if you're wanting to watch this to actually make fez, is I have a pattern I printed off the internet. I will link it down below. I got some scissors, some thread. You need your fabric for your fez. This is red felt. I got it in the remnant section. Got a really good deal on it. This is my lining fabric because I decided I'm going to line my fez. You totally don't have to, but I'm gonna. So black fabric to line your fez if you want to, and then some type of an interfacing to make it a little bit stiffer. I'm not quite sure how stiff this felt's going to end up being, so I have a fusible if I don't need very much stiffness, and then I have a really stiff canvas that I have, and some fusibles to fuse the two stuff together. I'm not quite sure yet, so we'll find out which one I'm going to use. Like I said, I'm just trying this and making it up as I go along. Of course, you'll need like the sewing machine and stuff like that, but I don't have it out yet, so you know. That's self-explanatory. Sewing machine, ironing board, stuff like that. You need that. So I'm going to eat because I'm hungry, and then once I get started, we'll get back on our next step. Alright, everybody. So for step number 1, cut out your pattern. Alright, when you get your pattern pieces come out, it'll look kind of like this. It has a circle. It's the top of your fez. And then it comes in 3 pieces for the band of the fez. What you're going to do is tape them together. It's a little bit of a guessing game. Stop it. Okay, that's my puppy. She decides she likes to sew sometimes, but she doesn't really. You're going to tape your pieces together. Sorry, I know this view's not the best. Give me 1 second, let me get the tape. Alright, so there's one piece of it taped together, and then the other side. Like that, you just kind of match up the edges until you have them together-ish. And then you tape it. I like to tape the front and the back because sometimes the back will start flapping when you're piecing it, and it gets really annoying. At least I think it's really annoying. So I'll tape the front and the back just along the lines, just to keep it from getting a little floppiness. There we go. Tape together. So that'll be your finished pattern pieces. And then you move to the cutting. Alright, so I decided I was going to use the canvas and the fusible because I want it to be as stiff as possible. I've had problems in the past with hats not wanting to be stiff. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to pause my movie this time. I'm watching The Emperor's New Groove. So what you do is you'll take your fusible. This is Wonder Under. Looks like this. Make sure you get the right thing because if you don't, it doesn't really work very well. Sorry, I'll pause that. What you're going to do is you're going to take your pattern piece. So here's this one, and you're going to put it on the Wonder Under, and you're going to trace it. And since my fabric doesn't really have a right or a wrong side on the other one, it doesn't really matter how I trace it. But if you have a definite right side, you'll want to trace it upside down. And you'll want to trace both of your pattern pieces out, and I'll get back to you after I do that. Alright, so I traced the pattern pieces on this, if you can kind of see. It's paper on one side and your fusible is on the other. You end up peeling the paper and so you'll have fusible both sides. Makes it nice and easy. So then you're just going to cut these little pieces out and you'll have them. And then I'm going to cut the same pattern pieces out of the canvas, so I'll get back to you after I do that. Alright, so I cut out my pattern pieces of the canvas. Here they are. And there they are, the fusible. And now we're going to fuse the canvas to the fusible. So I'm going to start with this piece because it's going to be easier to show you. You'll want to put the not paper side, so there's a paper side and there's the not paper side. The not paper side is the sticky side when you iron it. So you're the side you're going to attach to put down on the paper. Then you're going to get your iron, and my fusible, you don't need steam. And you iron it, and there we go. It's stiff now, very stiff. And you'll do the same thing with your other piece. So that, and your, sorry about that, and your fusible on top of it. I don't know how good this view is for you guys, but, and then you're just going to iron the two together. Really fast process, nothing complicated yet. So, there we go. Sometimes I'll iron this side, just to smooth out wrinkles. It shouldn't really be a problem because you're not going to see any of this, but I'm trying to work on pieces being professional looking slightly. So there we go. If you can see them, there's that, and then on the other side it's the paper and that piece. Next, we're going to cut out the red fabric. So I'll talk to you after I get things pinned. Alright, so I got my pattern pieces pinned, if you can see, and this one's pinned. The thing is this pattern does not have seam allowance in it, so you have to add your seam allowance in. You can see I've done that here. Here's my little tick marks. I measured out 5/8 and marked it. You can also use pins. I usually use pins, but I figured with the circle it'd be easier to mark it, and it might be easier for you guys to see how you do it. I'm going to show you how to do that. Up at the top, I'm going to do 5/8, and at the bottom we're going to do something different. So up at the top, let's see if I can do this one-handed. You're going to hold your thing out, and you see, find the little 5. Sorry. You're going to hold it out until you find the little 5/8 mark, just right past the half, and you're going to put a little tick mark. If we can see it, the tick mark's right by the 5/8. You'll do that all the way down this line, and then on the bottom, I want this to be on the inside. I don't want to see the black lining at the very edge. So I'm going to add an extra bit to the bottom, and then I'm going to cut it off the black piece that I make. So I'm going to add 1 inch and 5/8 to the bottom. Alright, so I did that. So you can see I have my tick marks at 5/8 along the top, and my tick marks at 1 inch and 5/8 along the bottom. The way this pattern worked is I didn't need any extra seam allowance at the end to make it fit my head. This piece was already just a little bit too big, which was perfect. If you did need extra seam allowance at the ends, you would put your 5/8 across the edges too. I just didn't happen to need it. So next you're going to cut it out, and when you cut out your pieces, you're going to cut along your tick marks, not along the pattern piece, because you want your pattern piece to be bigger. Same thing goes with that, except for me at least, I'm going to cut along the pattern piece at the edge. So I'll show you the pieces when they get done. Alright, here they are all cut out. As you can see, your pattern piece is bigger, your fabric is bigger than the pattern piece. Another thing is, I decided I wanted this to be my right side, so I folded the edges over in a couple spots and made these little ticky marks on the edges, so that when I go to add the piece on that I'm going to fuse, I'll be able to see where I want to do it. I did it on both pieces. If you cut it out where this is your wrong side, you can just go ahead and mark them right there. Alright, so I'm going to my iron, and I have my pieces, as you can see. So I'm going to start with the circle, because it's easy. And as you can see, probably now, there's my little marks. So I'm going to peel the paper off the back. It's really easy. You'll just find the edge, and it should peel right up. And it should leave the fusible on the side. So you can feel the difference between the two sides, but you can't really see it. But there's my fusible side. And I'm going to line it up on here with my tick marks so that it's like this. And we're going to turn the iron back on. But we're going to just repeat the same steps that we did a minute ago and fuse the two pieces together. Alright, and this one's gotten fused now too, if you can see. Make sure you're really checking the edges to make sure it gets fused all the way around, because I did that one time before and it didn't, and I got about halfway through and realized it wasn't fused, and it was really annoying. Alright, as you can see, I took my long piece, that's going to be the band of my fez, and I put the ends together, and I pinned them together, and I'm going to sew down across it at 5/8 of an inch. And after I do that, I'm going to press my seams. So you just open your seams and you press them. And then we're going to attach the hat part up here at the top. I can't show you how to do that because I'm going to need both hands, but I will show you what it looks like when you're finished. Alright, if you want to see, I have it pinned together. I did realize as I was pinning that I had to cut my seam allowance off the circle piece. FYI, if you don't add seam allowance to the end, you don't need to add seam allowance to the circle piece because it makes it too big. But, so I have it ready. I'm going to sew across the 5/8 because that's what I want. So here's what it looks like when it finishes that step. That was actually really hard to do. So if you just take your time and go slow. Alright, I got the pieces cut out. So I added my 5/8 inch at the top of this one, but I didn't add anything to the bottom because remember, we added to the bottom of the other piece. So we're actually going to have to take away from the bottom of this piece, but I didn't want to cut my pattern piece, so I just thought I would do it after I got the pattern piece cut out. So this piece just cut out normal, and then this piece we're going to start to take away. So unpin your pattern piece. Alright, so unpin pattern piece. And we're going to measure up 1 5/8 of an inch from the bottom, and we're going to cut it all off because we added 1 5/8 of an inch. So we're going to do it very similar to the same way that we did it. We're going to get our tape measure, and we're going to measure up 1 5/8, and we're going to put a pin there because the black. If you lined in white or something, you could make little tick marks, but I don't want to go find a white colored pencil, and nothing's wanting to show up on black. So I measured up 1 5/8, and we're very close to 1 5/8. I kind of guesstimate when I cut, so it'll be close. And I put a pin there, and I'm gonna do that all the way around. So I measured up my 1 5/8, and now I'm just gonna cut across to the top of the pins. So that's not the most exact way to do it, but I found it works for me. So now we're going to pin the edges together, sew them, and then attach the circle just like we just did before. Alright, so there it is. It's sewn together. Looks like a little cap. This fabric was a pain in the butt to sew this way. I definitely would pick up lining with some more body to it. I just picked something I had in the attic because I have a big stash of fabric and I was going for cheap. But definitely if you're buying fabric, buy a broadcloth or something with body with it because this thing did not want to do what I wanted it to do. So I folded down my edge and I pinned it, and I'm going to stitch it down by hand, and then I'm going to attach my lining in on top of it. So if you see, and then I'm just going to stitch around the edges by hand. Alright, so this is tacked down on the inside by hand. There's some stitching there because I went ahead and added a little toppy thingy because it looked like in the episode to me that the doctor had a little thingy on the top of his hat that wasn't really a tassel, so I put something on like that. And I'm going to put the lining and pin it in, and then I'll show you. So here's the lining. It's all pinned in. It's kind of rough, but it'll be better once I stitch it down. Alright, so here's the inside of the hat. It's done. As you can see, it's been sewn in. Yeah, it actually did take a while to sew it in, but I did stop a lot. It was getting kind of tiring. So here's the whole thing. It's the vest. I think it didn't turn out too bad, especially since I was kind of making it up as I went along. But my sister will be home later tonight, and I'll probably tape her reaction because it's actually for her. She wanted it. She loves Matt Smith. Alright, hey, this is Bailey. She's about to see her fez for the first time.
First time meeting
So,
my fez.
Open your eyes.
Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. Look at that. Look at that. A little thingy. Looking at my fez. You know what, Sarah?
What?
Fezzes look cool.
Do you like it?
I do like my fez.
Alright, so that was how to make a fez in 15 million easy steps. If you have any questions, you can comment below and I will try to answer them for you. And I think we might start selling them over on eBay. So if you're interested in that, comment below and I can send you the links. So thanks. Bye.